caveat would be is this to Arsenal fans. I know Ancelotti's amazing and he's won everything, right? But if you're expecting like beautiful, well-organized football, which I know a lot of Arsenal fans want, that's the one thing that Madrid fans are screaming about they don't have at the moment. So be very careful who you ask for, because you might not get that kind of football, and you don't have Vinicius Junior or Mbappe. So just be.
And he doesn't have a good. He doesn't have a good track record taking on a club where he has to spend money and invest. Like we've seen when he took over Napoli, what happened.
By the way, I think a big thing is the squad. Because the last 2 seasons and a bit that we've been performing well, one thing didn't happen. We didn't get key injuries. The last 2 seasons, everyone used to look at Arsenal and say, Arsenal lucky they're not getting no key injuries. The second we've had a season where we started getting key injuries, it started showing how poor that squad.
And with Saliba as well. If Saliba's out for as long as this suggests,
that's done. The season is done.
Yeah. And just touch on Ancelotti on the whole Ancelotti thing, right?
The whole mentality thing, yeah. Well, the player's mentality, a lot of the time it comes from the manager, right? The manager instills it. So, for example, Fergie was a long reigning manager at Manchester United. You know, won a lot with Manchester United, overturned and changed his team a lot. You know, in terms of individuals coming in and out, and you know, the mentality remained the same for a long period of time, right? So, when you look at mentality and it's stemming from the manager, Arsenal's first season of challenging for the league title, we were obviously 8 points clear with 8 games to go, and we bottled it, right? Or Saliba's injury affected us to a point where we didn't go and win the league. So really and truly, Arteta didn't need to change our way of playing. He just needed to add better quality individuals into that team in order for us to go and win the league the next season. But the reason why I question the manager's mentality and whether he's able to get us over the line is because he's changed the way that we play for the last 2 seasons in a row.
So you want us to stay the same, like Ange Postecoglou has basically done and is in a relegation?
No, it's a combination of the two things. You're right to make changes because Sir Alex Ferguson did. Pep does. Pep doesn't play the same today as he did the day he arrived in the Premier League. There are subtle differences, but it's about getting it right. And what I would say, and this is in defense slightly of Arteta, he's been at the club, 5.5 years now?
Yeah.
You're getting towards, if you just look in the last 30 years of Premier League managers, he's getting close to being in one of the longest serving managers in the last 20 or 30 years. Most don't last this long. There's a reason for that. And there also comes a point where you might just need to try something. It might not be now, but at some point, if you actually look, how many Premier League managers have lasted more than 5 years at a club in Premier League history? If you were to tell me there was more than 15 that have lasted that long, I'd say I would say no. I'd say no more than 15 have lasted over 5 years at one and stayed in the Premier League. So this is why people look. This is not about Arteta in, Arteta out. This isn't about I like him, I don't like him. You have to sometimes look at football in its entirety. If only 10 managers in Premier League history have managed one club as long as Arteta has, there's a reason for that. And it isn't always, and not everyone who's been sacked has been a bad manager. Sometimes something just, the course runs as an example. And I sometimes think there's an element of all of this here rather than it just being one thing. You know, can we just jump? Can I just jump? Yeah, go on, make your points. I want to jump some more of these super chats. There's quite a few of them.
Just on what you're saying, the thing is, it's because we haven't won anything. Because a lot of managers, Klopp, Sir Alex Ferguson, Wenger, they all have that year where they're not quite up to the scratch of the previous couple of years. And you're like, what's going on? This is the same team. Why are we dropping off? Why are we fit? But because they've got winning stuff in the bank, you kind of let that slide. If we'd won one of them 2 Premier Leagues, no one would probably be worried.
Yeah, yes, very, very true. And you know, even like today's result, if you had beaten Newcastle and you were practically in the final, a different feeling. And that's, listen, I understand that completely. This here says Mourinho has a good game today. These guys just need a scapegoat. Partey and Timber was not disciplined today, is what Enigma says. This here from Gaza says, what are the odds this draw lights a fire under the boys and we go on a winning streak? Only say that because I'm seeing a lot more confident Liverpool fans on the timeline.
They have the right to be confident. They have the best team in the league this season.
Is he on about a win streak for Arsenal or for Liverpool?
Arsenal.
Oh, okay. I'd probably agree with him if we had Saka. Without Saka, I'm not confident.
Sleeper.
Well, you'll probably find
it is, right? We've had 6 opportunities this season to capitalise on Liverpool dropping points. Right? I know they didn't drop points today, but we've only done it once. That's another mental block from this team, really, isn't it? Because we've had 6 opportunities to capitalise, and we've only managed to actually do it once.
And the one we done it, we went and lost the advantage the next week, this week.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I hate when fans say the same points as last season, should and must improve every season. I think it's a fair point. Again, I don't necessarily use points as the ultimate barometer. I don't necessarily think a team that wins the league with 100 points is better than a team 10 years earlier or 50 years earlier that won it with 90 points or 85. That's where context is important. Who are your competitors? Who are you up against?
Because it defeats your argument of United versus City. That's why you don't like it.
But partly, but it's also about protecting the legacy. Because I'll give you an example. If there's 4 or 5 teams that are really good, like forget Man United's legacy, when Liverpool, Chelsea, United and Arsenal were in that run of all of us got the Champions League finals, all of us in title races from sort of 2004, Invincibles included, right through to about 2012. Look how good all 4 of those teams were pretty much every single season. But because all 4 were that good, there's an argument to say you were going to get slightly less points. Imagine Arsenal were as good as they were Invincible year for that whole period, for 8 years, but there was almost nobody else near their level in that time. You'd have probably got 95 plus points in a lot of them seasons.
Yeah, but Chelsea still did 95 points against the Invincible team and against United.
I understand that, and they were brilliant, but they were up against really good teams. So that's a case in point. I actually think that Chelsea team was a better team than the Centurions, even though there was 5 points less. I'm saying that I don't look at points totals as the ultimate barometer. So yes, you might be on the same points this year as last year, but you've had opportunities this season to maybe be ahead of that points total and top of the league. You can't ignore that just because the points total is the same. And I think points totals are a good barometer, but I don't think they should be the be-all and end-all of any league position discussion, really. You know, Man United have come second before, but been 25 points off the top of the league. So I look at that and go, well, you're second in the league, but we still had a low amount of points. Do you know what I'm saying?
Even as Arsenal fans, I think even if I'm not mistaken, when we went Invincible, we'd won a league with a few games to spare, and we just started drawing games until the end of the season, right? So, you know, context always has to be kind of taken into the equation, because once you've won the league, there is going to be a motivation no one's going to want to really go out and give it their all.
No, I agree. I think there was an element. Again, I'm taking nothing away from the Centurions. I think they're a fantastic team, and they're part of one of the greatest English sides of all time. I feel like there was no one when I was growing up cared about points totals. When you won the league, nobody went, but you only got 75. Oh, last year though, yes, you won the league, but we got 8 more points than you last year. No one said anything. I think it's become something to chase. So yeah, there's part of that. There was a time where I swore the ref was playing for Arsenal. He was giving them every decision in favour, not Arteta, nor the players or fans to be blamed here.
We're just good at drawing fouls, I think. Like, we've got players that are just really good at drawing fouls. Ian Skelly. He's one of the best players that can draw fouls I've seen recently.
I get that. I've got a few more super chats here.